Henshin Inspection presents Writer Tears. I will be discussing the bad and good of Kamen Rider Geats Episode 6 and what is true victory. This is MJ. I'm an author, I'm an artist, I'm an analyzer. Find all my work at mjmunoz.com. So Kamen Rider Geats Episode 6 originally aired... it originally aired October 9, 2022. The writer is Yuya Takahashi. The director is Takayuki Shibasaki. And the title for the episode is Encounter 5, Boost Turnabout. So, jumping straight into the bad stuff, which there isn't a ton of really, because this episode was pretty good. How does Michinaga not get that Ace helped him and didn't kill his friend? I don't see that. If he's seeing his memory clearly, which... the way it was shot and everything, it seems as if he does understand and see his memory clearly, then he should know what exactly happened and see that it was an elephant-looking dude and somebody else who stole the item from his friend, or I don't even know what they did. They steal his belt? I can't remember. But you saw the zombie buckle too. And anyway, he should have seen that Geats came along and tried to fight off the Yamato or whatever afterwards and, saved his life. So, I don't understand. It doesn't make any sense. It's almost as bad as the writing with Dapan Jr. previously, where, it just doesn't make sense. There's a gap there. It's a big, huge leap in logic, and that's odd from Takahashi, because he's pretty solid. But anyway, next thing, it feels like the bad writers are getting dropped too quickly, and I'm a little bit uncomfortable with that, because... it doesn't quite make sense that there wouldn't be more good writers and that there wouldn't be... I mean, we've got... looks like 3 for sure, and we'll find out if Chimichanga has a real good reason later. I mean, he wants to... well, anyway, we'll talk about that later. And then I want to know, from a writing perspective, is it weak that the last 2 eliminated writers were bad guys who the audience was likely happy to see go? I don't know. It makes it easy... and maybe people are being lulled into a false sense of security. We're 6 episodes in. I think it started off with 50 people. Then there were 6 or 7. And we saw, did we see 2 eliminated at once? I feel like we saw 2 people eliminated in one go. And then there was the sympathetic guy who was looking out for his son from, I don't know, the first or second episode. So, I don't know. I really don't know. I guess it was the second episode. This is a weird show. It's structured in a strange way. And you would think that certain things would get more time dedicated to them, or we'd have things paced out a little bit differently, but it's booking it. It's going real fast, so I don't know. Anyway, I don't know if it's good to see 3 solid people and 1 kind of wobbler as our remaining cast, especially because it seems like, based on last time, based on the first episode, you can have the world ending and have the game ending while there are 3 players active, and I just don't know how much longer. Is that 1 round, 2 round? Will we get 1 more round and then the 4th character will be eliminated, and then, which will probably be Nako, right? And then we'll have 30 episodes with these 3 guys? That doesn't really make sense, especially with the next episode having Final Boss in the title. It's interesting. I don't know where it's going, but it does feel a little odd to have these, villain writers eliminated first. So, anyway, moving on to the good stuff. Ace gloating about how he will win while encouraging Keiwa is hilarious. I literally laughed out loud. I was watching and in the house with people around, and somebody asked me, "What are you laughing at?" And I had to explain to them. I said, "This is a great line from this awesome character," and it was funny. So then seeing Michinaga's memory was cool. There was a neat effect going into it, and then watching him watch the memory was really cool to see as well. And I like that. I'd like to see more of that. I liked how they changed the tone, the skin tone and the coloring and the lighting effects were all different to show that it was a memory. And I thought that was pretty cool. Like I said, it was a good effect. So I appreciate that. Next thing is Michinaga wants the power to destroy all writers, but that doesn't mean he will execute that power. That gives me hope for him as a character. He isn't evil. He is aggressive. And I think that's interesting. And it's kind of there's a difference between being helpless and, oh gosh, what is that phrase? Something like, if you can't do harm, if you can't do harm to people, and then you don't do harm to people, that is not a moral good. But if you are capable of doing harm to people, and you restrain yourself from doing harm to people, that is a moral good. So, being weak or ineffective isn't the same as being good or responsible or showing restraint. I don't think I clearly said that, but I'm not going to dwell on it. You can look it up yourself. There's a difference between being harmless and being, I don't know what. I don't know how to say it, which is why I'm struggling with it. But anyway, so he wants to be powerful, but he isn't saying he necessarily wants to execute that power. And he's not saying he wants to kill all writers. He said he wants to kill or stop or whatever all writers like Geats, and he assumes that Geats killed his friend and acted in this thuggish way to team up with somebody else in an unfair way and overpower him and ultimately lead to his death. So, he wants the power to stop evil people, it looks like to me. So, will he himself become evil? I don't know. Was it evil what he did in this episode? I don't know. I think we're going to talk about that a little bit later. And then that card scatter slow motion shot looks fabulous. And almost as soon as the episode was out, somebody had already created a GIF of it, and that was good. Good to see. Okay, so moving on to my questions. How is it fair for Punk Jack to do jack squat to help his partner? And I'm talking about Keiwa when he was his partner. I thought the game was supposed to be more fair than that. It just seems kind of odd. Especially because he's this high-level player, you think, or he's an admin or whatever. You think he'd get in there and show us some cool moves or have unique weapons or whatever, and he's just kind of not. He's just real odd. So I don't get it. I don't get it. And then next question is, what is true victory? Is it Ace's mastery of the self? Is it Michinaga's survival at any cost? And we're actually going to come back to that in a couple minutes. So first of all, I'm going to give you my score for the episode, which is a 7 out of 10. The characterization was much better in this episode, and I enjoyed all the asides that showed us more of who the players are. I am particularly interested in Ace's morality. The action was really cool. Mary's mace, the chain array weapon thing. I love how he kicked that thing around. It was super cool. Geats' not so casual Jamato kick to the face. I don't know if you saw that, but he was looking, and there was Jamato peeking over his shoulder, and he did this weird scorpion kick thing where he kicked him in the face. It was super cool. That slow motion shot like I talked about, and then they kind of did a redux of that with Nago jumping off of Geats' hammer and going in for a big slash while he shot a bunch of people with his Magnum rifle rider kick or whatever it's called, and that was pretty cool. Overall, the episode was a bit slow in places, and something just feels a bit off to me. So that brings the score down for me a bit, which is why I'm giving it a 7 out of 10 instead of an 8 out of 10. And then as far as for story over everything, my lessons learned from Kamen Rider Geats episode 6 are, you can make a character detestable, interesting, and disposable all at the same time. Morio could have been played sympathetically, but Takahashi went a different way. He built him up as clever and crafty, and he showed his hideous colors before dispatching him from the story. So I think up until this point, up until episode 6, we saw negative aspects of the character, but we didn't see how bad he was. And there could be a whole sympathetic backstory to him that we're not seeing now, that Takahashi just kind of sets up and seeds, and then apparently we're never going to see the fruition of that because this character is going away from the game and the story, and he'll be off in his own world doing whatever. But I found that very interesting because I would have expected more to have been done with him, whether it be flashbacks or different insights into his character, but he's just a person who finds what the rules of a system are, or the rules of a game are, and figures out ways to exploit them to his benefit, to the exclusion of others, and he doesn't care about hurting others, which I guess is enough. That's all we really need to know about him, and that's what we were shown. So, I don't know, it's interesting to me that you don't have, I guess part of it is that you also don't have to make one of these sympathetic villains somebody who the narrative cares about. The audience can like them, but they can also just be a tool that you're using to move your plot forward and to add characterization to your heroes or your main cast or whoever it is. So that's pretty interesting. Okay, and then I will go back to that question to focus on that for a couple minutes. What is true victory? I really like the idea that Ace is saying that you have to win over yourself, or you have to have mastery over yourself, and that's the first and truest victory. And it got me thinking, well, if you have mastery over yourself, but you end up dying, is that true victory or not? Is your victory empty? Or if you stick to your morals, because he basically said he wasn't going to compromise his morals or do anything, any dirty tricks or whatever to win. But like he tricked Keiwa into giving him the boost buckle in the first round of this new game of the Desire Grand Prix, and he seems to have been okay with that. So I don't know. Is it? I know of plenty of people who believe very strongly in like protecting people's individual rights, but they also don't believe in like IP laws, intellectual property rights. So they would say like, yeah, I can pirate a movie, or I can take this design of yours or whatever, and do with it as I will. But I'm not gonna try to enslave you, or some of these people say taxation is theft. So they think that people shouldn't pay taxes because, well, then if you have to pay taxes, you're basically being enslaved by the state or whatever. But then again, I know people who are interested in this kind of philosophy and ideology and thoughts that also they're into capitalism and marketing and things like that. And there's some high level people, and there's a guy who shares like tips or whatever to help people build businesses, and he doesn't have books. He will run a seminar, and he'll charge you $1,000 or $10,000 to talk to him, and you have to sign like a contract that you will not share the things that he shared with you, in order for, well, you're charged a certain amount, and you're where is this going? How is this connected to it? Trust me, it is. He has you charge a certain amount of or pay him a certain amount of money, but then sign away your rights to share what you learn after he pays you this. But supposedly it's a good enough trade-off that people are happy to do it. But then again, if they aren't, then maybe part of the deal is they have to pretend that they're happy about it. I don't know. But it is interesting to me because it kind of relates to like Ace is playing on different levels, or maybe we don't know what his true morals are, because like, well, yeah, I can charge you anything I want for anything I want, and if you agree to it and you're a consenting adult, then you have to stick to this contract, even though I told you 42, and you just have to be okay with that because this was the arrangement. You entered into this as as a consenting adult, and you made this choice, and you bound yourself to this contract. Be honorable and do that, but at the same time, intellectual property doesn't actually exist. But if you want to pay for intellectual property, I'm happy to, charge you for it. It's that kind of thing. So Geats is like, or Ace is like, yeah, I'm going to have victory over myself, and I'm not going to stray from my morals and principles. But if I can trick you into straying from your morals and principles, that's up to you. You're the one who didn't have the self-mastery to do that. Or, it's okay for me to verbally trick you, but I'm not going to, outright steal something from you or lie to you. And maybe ultimately, we don't know what Geats or Ace has planned, what his wish is. Maybe it really is for the children, because that's the kind of the famous thing that he told. He told Keiwa to give him the buckle because it's for the children to protect them or whatever. But if he's dismantling this writer game and it really is evil, then ultimately you could say, yeah, from a certain point of view, he is protecting the children of the world. Or maybe there's something more direct. I don't know. But on the other hand, Michinaga, who I made a meme. I'm going to post the meme in the... I'll post it on the video version, and I'll post it in the show notes. That I can't help but think of when I see Michinaga's name. I think Chimichanga, because I think it's the same letters, or it's pretty close. It's very close, but it's not 100%. Anyway, and he's a beef chimichanga, so that's funny. Anyway, or he's a chimichanga with a beef. That's my joke. Sorry. But like him saying like, I'll do whatever I have to survive, and survival to him is the highest ethic. Well, if you survive, but you basically like can't live with yourself after it, then what's the point? If you lose yourself in surviving, then what's the point? But then again, if you're not dead and you're still alive, then you can grow and find happiness, and you can have redemption. But if you're dead, you can't have redemption. So I don't know. Like I said, with Ace, if you keep to your morals, but you end up dying and losing in life, then that, where do you go from there? But at the same time, if you live, but you lose your soul, so to speak, and you're, still alive in the flesh, where are you? And is there something in between those two that can be dealt with? I don't know. It's a question I have. It's a genuine question I have, and I think it's a really interesting thing to examine. And I don't know if that's like going to be like the theme of the show, like, you know, what is true victory, or what is victory at any cost, or I don't know. But I'd be curious to hear your thoughts on that. So I think I've done everything I have to do for this. So I'm going to go ahead and get out of here. Check out mjmunoz.com for all of my stuff. You can find the Dawn Brothers 32 and the Futo PI episode 11 analysis up there right now. They'll be active. They're actually already live on the website. So the audio only podcast version of it, and then the video version as well, are live at the time of this recording. And look out for Story Over Everything, where I'm going to be talking about the progress that I made. I'm hoping that I can make a decent chunk of progress on the Godzilla inspired children's picture book that I need to be working on. How can I get it all done by tomorrow? All the descriptions for all 16 sections. I'm not sure yet, but I'm planning to figure it out, and I will update you on that in Story Over Everything. And then finally, go over to Superhero Time. So it's superherotie.me, or Superhero Time, but it's the .me is the end of the time. I don't know how you say that smoothly. I got to ask Squall Charleston how he wants to go about like saying that, because it's kind of funny to say. It's a .me top level domain, and it's Superhero Time. Is that how you say it? I don't know. Anyway, check that out. I think my Futo PI 11 post will be up there, short review, and you can check out the cosplay and toy coverage and all sorts of news. I think there's going to be news about some new Mill Creek Ultraman releases that are coming out as well, and you can find that all there. But yeah, check that out, because I'm contributing over there, and I think it's a place where a lot of cool stuff can happen. So anyway, with that, I am going to go ahead and get out of here. I leave you with peace and blessings. This is MJ, signing out. I hope you enjoyed that. If you did, you can find more at mjmunoz.com, as well as my entire library of analysis, art, and fiction.